Some are so enamored of that of the earth that they never look what ye might call upward. For there are always those that would help thee, those thy angels, if ye would call it, those that have passed on before, and there are many with specific duties that would help these lost souls, these wandering souls, to cross over, to look for the shaft of light that they will most surely witness if they would gaze upward. And as they witness the shaft of light, physically they are drawn towards it, you see. With this comes knowledge, enlightenment, and awareness that entering in of other dimensions. In this way, birth is experienced. Now, birth as a babe? Nay. The birth into this dimension will usually enable that soul to take on the garb of that is held in its mind the longest period of time. Now, ye would find many that would speak of heaven, and many that would speak of hell. But know ye this, that ye live in the physical, if it is heaven, is the same thing that is lived once the physical body is laid aside. But of those who are blind unto themselves, have made their life a hell, and have chosen this, then laying aside the physical body changes this not, for life will still be hell. The manner in which this is accomplished is a simple one, and it is best to understand different functions or levels of functions of aspects of the mind. You have that of the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the super-subconscious mind. In essence, they could be described as this. The conscious mind is the small I am. The subconscious is that of the soul mind, which has many functions. First of all, the soul mind contains a record of all that has been for that particular soul. The soul contains all memories. The soul is the seat of emotion, or the remembrance of that of the same. But also the soul is responsible on the low levels for the functioning of the physical form. For it carries on all the functions of the body perfect, that it has inhabited for this span of time. Now, that of super-subconscious is the great I am. This is the essence of spirit itself. Suppose that in the physical dimension ye would have one who would be hateful, who would deal with jealousy or envy or greed or lust, or be the hypocrite, or who would be judgmental, or who would be condemning of self, or any other of the multitude of sins that man has fostered upon himself, then you would find that this entity, upon shedding the physical body, has only filled the soul mind, the subconscious mind, with all the records of these thoughts, these experiences. And this is that is meant. Do ye not look to the deeds of men, but rather look to the thought of men. For there are many deeds that are committed that appear to be loving and kind and generous, but are only expressions of extreme and excessive selfishness. That is held in the conscious mind and fed to that of the subconscious or the soul mind is that is the permanent record of the entity. And this is the choice that God would give thee. For God looks not upon that would flow from the mouth, but rather that is as of to the thought of the entity. For that happens at physical death is the conscious mind, the small I am, the personality, which is a shadow of the soul, is laid aside. Now this is formed almost as a shell in the ether. Then that of the subconscious or the soul mind becomes the conscious mind. That of the super subconscious then becomes the subconscious mind. Now ye can see that if in this interim of these lives in the physical ye have fed the soul with the sinful aspects of thinking, then doesn't it stand to reason that once the physical body is laid aside, the conscious is laid aside, and then ye have that of a conscious mind that is filled with what? A continuation of that ye have lived. Sinful thinking. What is necessary for this entity? This entity is in a state of hell or purgatory. Condemned by God? Nay, condemned by self, if there would be condemnation. It is simply a clear case of each entity reaping exactly that they have sown. Are they cast aside? Nay, none are cast aside except by their own choice. How long would each entity stay in this state of purgatory? Depends upon what that entity has thought about. For there might be some that would stay in this state as man counts time for 1,000 years or so. And some might only stay a matter of moments. But suppose that there are other dimensions, and there are other dimensions for learning. For life is a continual evolvement. What is it ye must learn? The same thing that ye separated thyself from in the beginning. Ye must learn love. There is no other law. All other aspects are aspects of man's wishful thinking to avoid the truth that there is only one law, and that is the law of love. Suppose this person has filled its life with love and touches upon those things that are godlike. Then this crossing over would be a relatively easy, a relatively simple one. Then what would happen? The entity would see, as ye see, many helping hands extended towards it. And who would be these helping hands? Most often they would be those that have preceded thee in physical death. Many times they would be those that did not enter the physical at this time. And ye must understand that when ye enter these levels of consciousness, that ye have earned for further learning, know ye that they build houses, they play baseball, they talk with one another there just as ye do here, but it is simply of a higher vibration. But if ye would be even more enlightened, then what would ye do? Then ye would find that there is a supreme feeling of love as ye belong, for one would merge into that of another, and this is yet another dimension. Then that is known in the earth as of the sexual aspects of male and female is laid aside, and it is only a state of being. Being what? Being loving, being kind, recognizing the individuality yet of each entity, but the merging, almost as a floating through. It is like one film of gossamer floating through another film of gossamer. And what is felt? Very little is felt, for what is that of love. If these entities would travel even further, then they would go perhaps to what man might call Septimus, or Arcturus, or other dimensions where there would be further learning, further opportunities. Death is an individual thing.